just coming to meet me. Now I'm intrigued. What is going on? My kids have broke it. Oh no, shocker. So we're gonna take a look at it. All right, let's go. Yeah, so just heading to the driving range now. I'm gonna hit a few balls to showcase like another hobby of mine, and honestly a great escape when you own a business. Like for me, there's no better thinking time really than just being out there, hitting some golf balls and thinking about like, okay, clear the mind, stress relief if you like. And I would say like in the early days of owning a business, it's taken me a long time to get to this point where I actually feel okay doing stuff like this and there's no level of guilt. Because in the early days, you know, if I wasn't working, I'd feel guilty about not working all the time. It was all I could think about, you know. It's like, well, if I'm, and I do believe in the beginning of running a business, you have to go through that phase of just working all the time as hard as you can to get to where you want to be. But it does, you get to a point, and this is where it's similar to training or similar to a lot of things, like there can be too much. And if you're in your business too much, you can zoom out and look at like what you need to work on, what you need to focus on. It's kind of like training, you know, when you first start training, I was training 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, because it was like, I need more, more, more. I was obsessed. But you get to a point of diminishing returns where doing more doesn't actually make you better. And if anything, it can make you worse. And in the beginning, you feel guilty about doing that because people are going to say, oh, he's on vacation all the time, or he's away from his business, must be nice, and all these different things. And they get in your head. But the reality is that for you to be a good business owner, for you to be a good leader, for you to be a good husband, for you to be a good father, you've got to have breaks from it. Otherwise, it just gets extremely overwhelming. You can't think clearly. You're not giving enough to the people that need you to give them more. So having those getaways and those hobbies away from your business is fundamental. So we got some Core Hydrate. And this, the blue raspberry flavor, if you couldn't tell. I don't know what the giveaway is. But it's delicious. Let's be honest. Water gets really boring. Like, we can pretend that it's not, but it is. And we know we need to drink more of it. And I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone here because I got my hydration pack, so I got my electrolytes, and I'm drinking more water. So this is great. But the one issue is that you have to be careful with is when you're in prep, you pee all the time. And part of it is because, you know, obviously you're drinking probably more water than you were, but you've also just got less food going in. You're getting leaner, and you'll find that, you know, towards the end of prep, I mean, I'm peeing like 3 times an hour, it feels like. So that's obviously difficult when you're training clients. It's a beautiful day out here. Like, this time of year is so good because as a Brit, like peak summer over here, it's unbearable. Got the golf shoes. Anyone that knows me knows it's got to be Nike. Can't help it. I'm just like obsessed with Nikes. Actually, that's a great book. Phil Knight's book about how he built Nike. Really, really good book. And even the movie, actually, the movie where they meet Jordan and how they went about that deal. Really good, really inspiring books. How they get started. And, you know, every business, as a business owner, you know, you look at these massive businesses, right? And you think, it's kind of like looking at someone's physique and thinking like they've always been where they are, right? And it's the same with a business. I remember when the gym was so small and I would go into these bigger gyms and I'd be like, man, how do these people afford this equipment? How do they afford this space? And while some people maybe can afford it out the gate, or maybe they have an investor, everybody starts somewhere. Everybody starts small, and they work so hard and hard and hard to get to where they are. And it's no different to Nike. I mean, they started as like such a small company, and what they've built it to and what they've grown to is just unbelievable, you know. But it's important to remember that most people don't start there. They start at the bottom, and often it takes at least 10 years to really get any kind of recognition, if that's the right word, to be what you think you're going to be. And one of the most powerful quotes to me is, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and they underestimate what they can do in a decade. A year is not a long time. It feels like a long time, but it goes by like that. Now, 10 years, whether it's your business, whether it's your physique, anything that you're working towards achieving, after 10 years, you will put a dent in it And that's when you'll really see like, wow, all of that hard work was worth it. But it's going to take a decade to really start to see that. Pretty much all my clubs are like Titleist. And that's the power of branding and marketing, I guess. Is like growing up watching golf, I would see the Titleist commercials, and there was something about Titleist that always just seemed classy and right. You know, there's so many good golf clubs out there, TaylorMades, Callaways, Pings. But I've always had just like an infatuation with Titleist. And so that's pretty much why all my clubs are Titleist. Just the power of branding. There we go. So like the problem I have with bodybuilding is you don't compete. I mean, I compete like once every 2 to 3 years. You compete with yourself every day in the gym, but it's not quite the same because I'm used to competing every single week, be it like football or soccer tournaments, be it golf tournaments when I was younger. So it's hard not to have that thing that you're competing with. But the nice thing with golf is, you know, I can do this and bodybuild, and it doesn't take away from bodybuilding too much. It would be really hard for me to play soccer and do bodybuilding because my legs are just always a little bit sore. You're going to increase the chance of injury a little bit more. But the nice thing with golf is like, while it might inhibit my swing a little bit, you can still work around that. And I just get so much joy being out on the golf course. Like I used to be way too competitive all the time, like even in friendly rounds. Whereas now listen, at the end of the day, I can only put so much time in. I know I'm only going to be so good. So I'm really not going to stress about that. And then, you know, one day in the future, I would probably like to get back to doing like more competitive golf. But that's like way down the line when bodybuilding kind of takes a back seat. Check. Too much on it. Until next time. What's up, boss? Hello. How we doing? All right, so we're here at Sports to You. So part of owning the gym is we have our own apparel, like this brick by brick shirt that was done by the guys at Sports to You. We've had a phenomenal relationship for a few years now. And supporting local business is something we really like to do as much as we can. So I want to introduce you to Cindy, who is the owner of Sports to You. And Cindy, tell us a little bit about what you do here and what you do in the community.
Okay, yep. Well, we're a screen printing and embroidery business. We've been in business 27 years. We do screen printing, embroidery, advertising specialties, anything you can think of to put your name on to advertise for your business. That's what we do. We do everything in-house. So we're always here ready and willing to help.
Yeah, and they do phenomenal work for us for actually my wife's company as well, No Limits Dance Company, whenever she has a recital, a showcase, when we have our bodybuilding shows, when we have events at the gym that we make things for. So with these guys, you can either order straight from them, so they'll get the shirts in, the sweatshirts in, whatever it is, or sometimes when there's other things I find online that they can't get, I bring them to these guys, and then they do it for us. So we've had a great relationship, and we're proud to be able to support local.
Yes, love that.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
Awesome.
We just enjoy doing business with you guys.
Got some ladies active like sports bras. These things are awesome. The faded track pants. Money. What was I gonna? The No Limits logo. I'm not wearing it today. The block one.
The one that we're getting. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. On those.
24/7 gym logo.
I got a new design I'm gonna send over. So we got these. There's two different types of tank in here. There's the crop tank, which is this one for the women.
Are they all black?
Yes,
Okay.
everything's black.
Okay.
And they're gonna have this design that I'm gonna send over. Push your limits. And then I guess we'll do that in, what do you think, red or white? White?
White would definitely
Let's
pop.
pop it in the white. Let's do
Okay.
that. Cindy,
Yes, sir.
if I showed that to you, what would you,
Have limits.
but the red line going through it? I don't
I
know.
love that.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, Like, what do you think of that?
I like that.
So with this pusher limits, how big do you want it on here?
I'm getting a new sample bag for you, by the way.
Are you? Awesome. You're a hero.
It's
Or
wherever.
maybe we left justified.
If you what?
Left justified. Right justified. Right here.
On the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably makes
Off
more
center.
sense.
It's just different, you know? I think it's
Yeah.
classy looking there.
I agree.
In the lower
You think?
I mean, that's whatever. y'all
lower
think.
left, yeah. I think
Let's
Lower
make it
left.
A little complicated for them in the back.
Can they
Yeah, I
screen
mean,
print
lower
that?
left bottom.
Can they screen print that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So lower left bottom wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And band.